What does number 1 ask us to do? Okay. So in order to do that, I have to establish my pattern. Remember, with geometric sequences, you're always multiplying or dividing. Okay, so to get from 20 to 40, I multiply by 2. 40 to 80, I multiply by 2. So that's my pattern. So in order to find my next 3 terms, I have to do that 3 more times. Okay, so 80 times 2 is 160. 160 times 2 is 320 times 2 is 640. Okay. You need to have both pieces of information. You need to have your pattern, so you need to show me that you're multiplying or dividing, and you need to have these 3 terms. Okay? That's how you get all 4 points on number 1. Number 1 is 4 points, yeah. Okay.
Are tests going to be this little? Please say yes.
Yeah, they're small numbers.
Well, I mean, our test is going to be like...
Oh, yeah, there's only 6 questions.
Yes.
Okay, on number 2, I'm asked to find my next 3 terms. What do I need to do to get from 6 to negative 12? Times negative 2. And from times negative 2 times negative 2. In order to find my next 3 terms, I have to do that 3 more times. Okay, what's negative 48 times negative 2? Positive 96. 96 times negative 2.
Negative 1.
Negative 192. Negative 192 times negative 2. 384. Okay, so in order to get all 4 points, you have to include that you're multiplying by negative 2, and you have to include your next 3 terms. That's where the 1, 2, 3, 4 points comes from. So any questions on 1 or 2? No. Okay, so number 3 gives me the sequence 2, 6, 18, 54, and I'm asked to find my 18th term. Okay, the formula for your nth term is a sub n equals a sub 1 times r to the n minus 1. You need to know that for your quiz on Monday. I'm not going to give that formula to you. You have to have that memorized.
You have to put that on there, though?
No, but you have to know how to, you have to know the formula in order to do the problem. So n is the term we're looking for. So n is going to be 18. What's my a sub 1, my first term? 2. And what do I do to get from 2 to 6? Times 3. So times 3 is my r. Okay, so if I plug that all in, yep, so my 18th term, a sub 18, equals my first term, which is 2, times 3, which is my common ratio, to the 18 minus 1. What's 18 minus 1? 17. So 2 times 3 to the 17th.
Or 129,163,108.
Okay, so 258,280,326 would be your final answer. So do I have any questions on number 3? No. Okay. Number 4, I told you guys that I changed the problem so you can ignore what the problem actually says on your test. We're going to take the equation f of x equals 42 times 1.41 to the x power, and we're going to sub in x equals 4. So if I put in x equals 4, then I get 42 times 1.41 to the 4th power. What's 1.41 to the 4th power? Okay, we'll just round it off at that. Okay, take that times 42. And then tell me what you get. Round it to 2 decimal places. 0.006. Okay. So 166.006 should be what you get for 4. Nope, this was still from 9.1. I just changed the problem because the problem is written very confusingly. I picked a random number. I didn't like the way the problem was written, so I wrote a new problem and just chose 4. Alright, this is 9.2. Okay, so then on number 5 and number 6, we're told to graph the exponential function y equals negative 0.5. Oh no, I'm sorry, y equals 3 to the x. So on graphing, we use the negative 1, 0, and 1. Those are the numbers you're always going to use when making your table of values. If I plug in negative 1, I get 3 to the negative 1, which is
0.33.
0.33. Okay, if I plug in 0, 3 to the 0 is? No.
1.
Anything to the 0 exponent is 1. And if I plug in 1, 3 to the 1 is 3. So if I graph those, negative 1, 0.33 is back 1, up very little. 0, 1 is over 0, up 1. And 1, 3 is over 1, up 3. I then connect my points to make my curve. Alright, so any questions on number 5? Nope, pretty straightforward. Number 6, y equals negative 2 times 2 to the x. So again, we're going to make a table of values. That's what you do when you graph. So negative 1, 0, and 1. So negative 2 times 2 to the negative 1. 2 to the negative 1 is 0.5. 0.5 times negative 2 is negative 1. If I plug in 0, negative 2 times 2 to the 0. 2 to the 0 is 1. 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. And negative 2 times 2 to the first. 2 to the first is 2 times negative 2 is. Alright, so if I graph those, negative 1, negative 1, back 1, down 1. 0, negative 2, over 0, down 2. 1, negative 4, over 1, down 4. So I then connect my points and make my curve. Alright, so any questions on your quiz review? Yes, they have to be curves. That's all 9.2 is, yeah. Okay.